What is going on, guys? It has been quite a while since I've made a YouTube video, and that's because a lot of things have been kind of going on in the background. If you follow my main Instagram account, you probably already know, and if you don't, I'll make a future video kind of talking about all the madness that has been the last couple of months. But today, we are unboxing a really special package from one of my favorite knife makers who partnered up with Urban EDC Supply to come out with an exclusive knife through them. And we're gonna dive into why they're one of my favorite knife makers. But before we get started, let's make a cup of coffee, let's unbox this, and in the comments, let me know who your favorite knife maker is. I've always been super curious to see who everybody enjoys in the community and why. Cup of coffee, let's do this. That's some good stuff. Now, over the last couple years, I've had the chance to own a couple of Peña knives. I've had the large swayback, I've had the Apache, I bought a custom dog leg, which I haven't made a video on, and I probably should have, but I just never got to it. And today we have another design by Peña Design, one that was an Urban EDC exclusive in that special Japanese wave pattern, which I never know how to pronounce the name. Maybe I'll give it a shot and you guys can just butcher me down in the comments. I think it's called Seigai or Seigai, something like that, which is always something that I've thought was really cool. I worked at a tea shop a long time ago, and because of that, I've always had a deep appreciation for Japanese culture and Japanese history. So when I saw this, it was something that was right up my alley. I missed the F5.5 in the similar pattern too, which I think would have been an awesome addition to the collection, but alas, I'm happy that we were able to get a Peña design in that configuration. So the Peña that we're talking about today is the Peña Zulu in the full titanium with EDC textures, what the back of the box says there. And Peña's packaging is always super simple. You do have this little sleeve right on the top that says Peña X Series. So every X Series model that you own is produced by Rayot, which is super cool because honestly, after owning the dog leg jack, which is a custom, the difference between the Rayot and the custom is so minimal that, to be completely honest with you, if you didn't know that you purchased it directly from Enrique, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between both of them. It comes down to just a certain kind of feel, especially with my dog leg jack that's in this beautiful rag micarta. Honestly, I wouldn't be able to tell it apart. Very minor differences, which is awesome to hear from Rayot because they do incredible work. Now, getting this package open, seeming to be a little bit of a harder task, a two-handed opening. But like I said, packaging is super simple. You have this little sleeve that comes over the Peña box. There we go. And then inside you get a microfiber cloth. I have way too many of these. I like collect them. I need Chris, Renegade EDC, to make me like a Peña Hank with this microfiber on it. And inside we have our beautiful Peña Zulu in that Japanese pattern. Something that I've noticed with all of Peña's production knives, that they come in like this sealed packaging. So you need a knife to open your brand new knife, which is great. Now, what I love about Enrique Peña's designs is that they're a combination of traditional and modern. You know, growing up, my dad used a Buck 110, and the Buck has a very traditional looking design. At least for me, it has that wood with the brass along the top. And it's just something that screams traditional, but having the front flipper mechanism, having the flipper on some of the other Peña designs, brings it into a modern era. To me, a Peña feels like the kind of knife that you can hand down to your kids, that you can hand down to a friend even. There's something really familiar and traditional with this design. It just screams quality without it feeling like something old or vintage in a way. So that's something that I've always deeply appreciated by Peña. And now with this Zulu from Urban EDC Supply, this to me feels a little bit more modern because it is full titanium. It does have the beautiful milling. It does give the knife a nice little heft to it. But even comparing it to the dog leg jack, the weight isn't too different between both of them. I did notice that the Zulu does have a couple of different different cues than the design cues than the dog leg jack. So that's something that we're gonna dive in a little deeper, but this requires me to kind of sit down and have a closer chat with you guys. So let's take this upstairs to the office and dive into it a little bit more. So the Zulu is rocking an M390 steel, which I think is pretty standard for all the X series Peña designs that I've had at least. M390 seems to be the go-to blade steel for them, which is really great. I mean, performs wonderfully. I've never had any issues with it. I don't hard use a lot of my knives, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, mostly cutting up boxes and opening things up, little things here and there, but the blade has always held up really well. I've never had to sharpen it or send out for sharpening with the use. Now, all the deployment methods for every Peña that I've owned have been front flippers. So if you notice, you have the jimping along the top where your thumb sits and you just flip your thumb back. I found that holding the pocket clip gives me the perfect leverage, and the detent has always been perfect. I've never felt like it was too rough to deploy any Peña knife that I've owned. Now, this one in particular has your lock bar mechanism to disengage and it falls. It's not going to have a drop shutty action by any means. The Peña dog leg, which is a custom, that one does have a little more of a quicker drop and a quicker close. But this one does have a bolster lock, as where the Zulu has a frame lock. So maybe that could be a difference. Maybe the difference is that it is a custom and then this is production. I'm not sure. I'm sure if you take it apart and you oil it up, it could maybe become a little bit smoother. But honestly, that's fine for me. I don't expect this knife to be like super drop shutty action. It's just not that kind of knife for me. Now, the full titanium body, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video too, it's nice. It has a nice heft to it. Doesn't feel overly heavy. Doesn't feel light to where it's, you know, kind of feels cheap in a way. And I'm a huge fan of this like very thin jimping right along the spine here. There is, you know, some use cases where the jimping would have been nice above if you wanted to just get a really strong grip. But personally, I really just enjoy it here. I'm not doing any tasks that involve me having to put my thumb up there to really dig into something. And another thing to mention is the nail nick, which is actually something that I've only seen in the Zulu. I didn't see it in the Apache or the swayback. So it's really cool to have that little nail nick, which is another form of deployment. If you are going to hand it off to somebody who maybe doesn't know how to front flip a knife, it's kind of nice having that little nail nick there because you can dig in and just pull the blade out like so. Again, detent being nice and easy, so it's not a strain at all, which is really, really nice. Overall, I really love Peña designs. Like I said, it's just this traditional meets modern, and it's just a really well-balanced knife. Feels like something that I can hand down for generations to come, and that's why a Peña will always be in my collection, whether it's an X series production one, or maybe I'll pick up a couple more customs along the way. But I think it's a knife that's definitely worth checking out. No matter which one you end up choosing, I think every single one has just been absolutely perfect, and that's why I think there should be one in every single collection. But if you haven't owned a Peña yet, I want to know down below, what's something that maybe has not drawn you in to owning one? And if you do own one or a couple, let me know down below which one is your favorite. But that's the end of the video. It feels nice to make more knife content again. I know it's been quite a while, and it's nice to kick it off with a knife from a maker that I deeply, deeply enjoy. I wish there were a little bit more information on Enrique Peña on social media or forums. There's not too much information about him, which is a little disappointing because he's been in the game for quite a while now. So it'd be nice to kind of get some behind the scenes information on what inspires the designs, what inspires the names. But hey, maybe that's asking for too much. I mean, he is an incredible knife maker, and I'm sure he's super busy. But Enrique, if you're watching and you need a video guy, just hit me up. I'll film something cool for you. But yeah, that is it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe down below if you did enjoy this video. And here's to hopefully making more knife content very, very soon. I'll see you guys in the next one.